Help is on the way, dear.
Shut the Front Door, a podcast from Infinity Hydration and Wellness. Join us for holistic health and wellness talk designed to help you feel better emotionally, mentally, and physically. Time to dive in.
Welcome back to Shut the Front Door. Thanks for following us. Today, as requested by one of our listeners, a talk about birth control and IUDs in relation to hormone replacement therapy, which for some is a scratch on the head because birth control is a hormone. We were just talking about this before we started. Because we do get women in here who are on birth control, have an IUD, and want hormone replacement therapy, and they get to meet Dom first for that. And Dom's response is,
stop all the fake crap and So what exactly would you like me to address first?
I guess the women, I don't think, understand that if they're on birth control, they can't start bioidentical hormone replacement therapy.
Well, it goes back to what Corinne was saying, like what really is birth control pill? I don't think the majority of women understand what it is. Birth control pill is actually shutting down your natural production of all of your hormones, and it is replacing your body with synthetic chemicals. So there's nothing natural about it, and it is shutting everything down. So your ovaries are not even producing anything. That's why, obviously, you don't get pregnant. So the birth control pill totally shuts down your system, replaces it with chemicals. So would it make logical sense to then bring in natural bioidentical hormones exogenously on top of shutting down or suppressing your system? Anybody want to answer?
Negative.
Negative. So when we see women that are on the birth control pill, unfortunately, I mean, we can help them with other things, maybe like peptides or, sorry, I talk with my hands, keep hitting my microphone. This should not be here with me. I can't, this doesn't work. But we can help them with supplements and lifestyle and peptides, but it's an absolute no-go. Like if somebody is allowing you to take exogenous bioidentical hormones in whatever form and you're on the birth control pill, you need to go somewhere else. You need to come see us.
IUDs we've found are like much different, and it's the form of delivery for the estrogen, right?
So the progesterone. So the birth control pill is suppressing everything, therefore you're not ovulating, right? So you can't get pregnant. The IUD comes in and doesn't suppress anything, but it alters the environment at a local level, not systemic. And just think of an IUD as it just creates a hostile environment for sperm. So sperm tries to come in and the IUD creates like this thick mucus, and it just fights it off and kills it. The IUD kills sperm before it even gets anywhere, but the birth control pill just suppresses the ovulation of the female. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So yes, you can do bioidentical hormone replacement therapy with an IUD. However, it still is not the optimal choice. But we understand why you would want an IUD, and so we can work with that. The IUD is giving fake progestin, right? It's that fake chemical progestin. Do we prefer natural progesterone? Yes. But we understand when we get a perimenopausal woman, she's still concerned about contraception, then we can work with that.
What were you going to say earlier?
So that's interesting. So for someone with an IUD, what would be your first steps to decide what kind of hormone replacement therapy someone and I'm only asking for my personal self because I have an IUD. Mm-hmm. And when I started hormone replacement therapy, I started with bioestrogen cream, progesterone, and testosterone. But when I talked to the person, which was not this place, about starting hormone therapy, they didn't even take into consideration my IUD.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because it really makes a difference, because that is producing that fake progestin, and then you're taking natural progesterone. They're not really fighting each other because that progestin stays locally and the progesterone is going systemically. So that's okay. But where you run into an issue is the IUD sometimes raises sex hormone binding globulin. And I think it's something that we don't, it's technically a hormone, right? I think it's
It's gobbling up your free
yeah,
testosterone.
right.
It's the Pac-Man of them.
Yeah, we call it the goblin,
goblin.
because it comes along and it'll attach itself to testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and it holds on to it, and it won't let the body convert it and use those hormones. So the IUD raises that. And what I have found is that you have to really use a lot of progesterone to make an impact on your symptoms. And then the testosterone is usually blocked. Like if you're dealing with low libido or low motivation or low energy, you're losing muscle mass, all the things that we need testosterone for, an IUD is going to block that testosterone conversion. But the progesterone, I see they need more and more and more of it to get their autonomic nervous system calm, take care of the anxiety, the panic attacks, the sleep. The sleep is huge. Yeah. So does that answer the question?
And estrogen delivery, did you mention that?
I didn't.
Going from being on a cream to a patch. Were you on a patch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you have to ask whomever's giving you the patch, is it bioidentical estradiol or is it synthetic estrogen, number one? And then number two, what we have found just through listening to our clients and patients is that the patch, even though they say it'll be evenly distributed, it fluctuates too much. And women just don't feel the symptom relief on the patch like they do with the cream.
Yeah, I can 100% attest to that.
Really?
Yeah, I did not feel as much from the patch as I did the cream. But I can't even say that I felt a whole lot from the cream either. And I wonder if it's because of the IUD.
Yeah, and we have to look at your sex hormone binding globulin.
Right.
Is it eating it up? Is it pulling it and holding on to it and not letting it go?
And that's something I've never had tested.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Did you not have it tested when they did your testosterone levels? Because normally it's like total testosterone, free testosterone with sex hormone binding globulin.
No.
Oh, well, giddy up.
I had to fight tooth and nail just to get testosterone tested through my family doctor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't even believe they did it.
Right.
They usually won't even do it for men, let alone a woman.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to look at several things when you're dealing with hormones. IUD, birth control pill, bioidentical. You have to look at what each hormone is. Is it natural or chemical?
What were you saying about oral estrogen today?
The oral estrogen is not getting, because it has to go through the digestive system and the digestive juices and the liver, it is not getting the job done as well as transdermal cream. Transdermal cream is systemic immediately. So I've had several clients lately that have come in and they say they've been on the patch or they've been on oral estrogen, which I don't know why they're starting to do that. It never even used to be a thing. I think PCPs are just grasping at straws trying to help women.
That's what I learned about in pharmacology class.
That you should give oral estrogen?
Like there's like all these protocols along with your SSRIs. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. So that's where it's taught.
Yeah. So I find just anecdotally from talking to so many women, oral estrogen does not give them symptom relief, nor does the patch, or the patch does and then it fluctuates. Like they're like, it did and then it didn't. And then the oral progesterone does work as long as it's micronized, bioidentical. It does work wonders for sleep. We are finding that works better than the cream for sleep, but it's okay to put progesterone in cream if sleep isn't your huge issue. Testosterone cream, in my opinion, and I don't know if you have a different one, works best for women in a cream. I think injectable testosterone, and you might be the anomaly, but for the most part, injectable testosterone, from what I've heard with women, It doesn't agree with them. They get a lot of the side effects from it. It's like too strong or something.
So it was able to raise my levels, but then cause weight gain, like water weight gain. Like it was like 10 pounds.
Wow.
And then I switched to the cream, but then my levels were undetectable. Like with Jason, and we're working on changing some other things, but he was like, you may have to go back to like potentially the injection, or we got to try something else.
But do you see the nuances that you learn, like just talking to them and working with them? So you're taking symptoms plus lab work, and then you're swimming upstream like we do here at Root Cause Medicine. And it's like, okay, these online services and even some clinics will just look at your hormones. And you think that's awesome, right? You're like, oh my God, I got somebody to look at my hormones. But they're not looking at vitamin D, ferritin, and a complete thyroid panel, because all of those things affect your hormones. And then once you get all of those things figured out, oh, but wait, there's more. Sex hormone, binding globulin. And then for men, prolactin comes up a lot.
Insulin resistance.
Insulin resistance for men. So if you're not, I just had a client today that we were like, okay, when you see the doctor or Jason, our nurse practitioner, he probably will give you a little bit of testosterone, but he's really going to have to address your insulin first and your thyroid. Thank you. It was his thyroid. That is not what these online services are doing. They're just like, oh, you're low in some clinics, oh, you're low on this hormone. It's bioidentical, so it's good. No, we are a symphony, I can't say that enough, of hormones that overlap and synergistically work together. And I just learned today from Des and a client that vitamin D, we got her vitamin D to an optimal level, and it actually helped her PMS, and she doesn't bleed as heavily.
Oh, wow.
I was like, wow. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, I learn something new every day just from talking.
But if you look at even some of the teenagers coming in that are getting their hormones checked just because of symptoms they're having, look at, okay, I don't think anybody's been on birth control.
Not a teenager.
I had vitamin D levels are all in the tank.
The teenagers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
What do you attribute that to?
Where we live, diet,
yeah,
exposures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could be multiple things. If only I lived in their home. I'm not sure I'd want to live in some.
Oh, God, just says send us to your house.
That's going to be the next business adventure. I'm going to live in your house. I'd be sleeping over for a week. Oh, yeah, I would die. Some of these people, I think I do live with them. But
you could be like that old reality show, The Nanny, but instead of the nanny, you could be like the nerd. Well, I was going to say something, but I won't say.
I hope they know that I go to bed at 8 o'clock and I sleep like a log. So good luck to them. But yeah, back to hormones. We are learning so many things that we do get some people, and let's talk about this, the ones that are coming in getting tested need it and they want to try something completely different. I know we talked about this, and this one is a hard topic, and something did come up yesterday, and somebody's like, didn't you see all those old research things? Like, I know they're messed up, but there has to be another way for me to fix them all and not go on any hormones.
When she says fix them all, what was she trying to fix? Like her symptoms?
All of her symptoms and naturally correcting the estrogen levels.
By taking like oral supplements?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not really sure which ones because that's not my wheelhouse.
Oral supplements are great for perimenopausal women because they're not quite there yet, right? When I was in perimenopause, I took maca powder. I love maca powder. If I have a perimenopausal woman now that she's just exhibiting symptoms of low progesterone, like she can't sleep, she can't fall asleep, she can't stay asleep, she gets a little bit of anxiety, but yet she doesn't exhibit any symptoms of low testosterone or estrogen, that's great because your ovaries haven't quite shut down yet. So yeah, you could probably try some like DHEA or maca powder, but once you enter into menopause and you start to get only like 1 to 3 periods a year and you're the estrogen, the low estrogen symptoms like irritability, brain fog, memory problems, and you're getting the testosterone issues of the low libido. These herbs and oral supplements just aren't going to cut it. They're just not strong enough. You have to bring in exogenous hormone therapy. But to answer your question, she was trying to do all the other things. I know you and I kind of disagreed on this a little bit. I don't know how we feel about it now, but I'm like, well, it's their choice. And if they feel as though I'm already through menopause or I'm in postmenopause and I don't feel the need to do hormones anymore, can I just maybe do a couple of peptides to fix, whatever, weight loss, or they want to lose weight, or they want energy, they want to increase their lean muscle mass. Yes, peptides will do that. But your argument was, we're not staying true to root cause medicine.
No, for
right?
the ones they want to see on their lab work then that it's fixed. It's not going to.
Yeah, that's not going to fix their hormones.
One was like, I'm going to get my labs rechecked and they'll all be fixed. And I was like, I'm not sure how that. Yeah, I don't think it works that way.
Right.
I don't think you get to take a bunch of peptides and say, oh my gosh, now my testosterone all of a sudden came up, like all of these levels fixed. And that's where I was like, I don't think she quite grasped the concept that they don't go hand in hand.
So peptides, even though I love peptides, they still kind of are a Band-Aid, minus 2 or 3 that have been proven to increase the length of our telomeres. They are still kind of Band-Aids. So if you come into me and say, I have zero libido, and we do your labs and you're in menopause or postmenopause and we know you need some testosterone and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. Can I just have some PT 141? Yes, but it is a Band-Aid. We are not fixing you at a physiological level. So when you stop taking that, you're not going to feel better. You're not going to have a sustainable natural libido.
One of our patients that came in on birth control and was like, I need something for libido, PT 141. She's like, I had to send my kid away for the weekend.
Is that what she said?
Okay.
Hallelujah.
We are saving marriages.
I think all the men, though, need to get snips so all of these ladies can come.
Yeah, really, it's not that big of a deal. Just snip, you're back to work in 2 days. Let the women have their natural hormones running, wild. It's like...
Yeah, we do those in the garage.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We really don't. People are going to think you have this secret lab in the garage.
You take people in a back room.
I do, though, yes. I wonder why all the wives are starting to come with the husbands. I brought my wife so she can understand what you're saying. Okay. But anyway, to get back to the theme of the podcast, yes, you can do bioidenticals with an IUD. It's not ideal, but we understand why, and we will work with you. But sorry, Phil. So you have to be cautionary and know that you might not feel optimal. You might not be able to absorb everything. It's not an optimal environment, but we will work with you. And be careful where you go, because you have me as the educator, you have nurses, you have nurse practitioners, you have doctor, you have all the things here, and you're getting to see a real human. And so it's not like we're just looking at your labs, slapping some hormones on you and saying, okay, we'll see you in 3 months. Because that's very, that's negligent in my opinion.
And doing research before you go do something really crazy, like going to get pellets in and then say, oh my gosh, what just happened? Because now your levels are through the roof. And can you take them out?
You can get them taken out, yeah, but they are wicked. Have you ever done the pellets?
No.
Out of everything I've seen walk through this door, those are the worst. 6 to 12 months to get out of your system. They surge, you feel like a rock star, and then you crash, and then you feel like crap before your next appointment. Then if you want them out, it's invasive, and that is not worth it for convenience. Like just rub some cream on your forearms before bed. Isn't that difficult?
Or you wake up in the middle of the night because you got your period back.
Yeah, tell the story about the one patient you had.
Yeah, she thought she peed her pants, but she woke up and she actually had her menstrual cycle.
And she was in menopause.
And she was in menopause and hasn't had her period for a year.
Because she got the pellets.
Mm-hmm. And so it was too high of a dose.
Oh, wow.
And you are screwed. It's in your butt, and it's too late. It's not coming out. You're doomed. Sorry.
No,
it's in there.
good. And then you have to
I'm just giving you sound bites, by the way.
Oh, God. Help. Oh, man. Well, we watched the one, her labs, her testosterone was through the roof. And then in like 6 weeks later, it was in the tank.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you even, I wouldn't be able to function.
Well, the one I'm thinking of, she was a mess, and I felt so bad for her because she is so sweet, and she suffered. And I call it withdrawal because it looked like she was going through a drug withdrawal from those pellets. It was very hard on her. Yeah.
Man, they look painful too.
Are they all a different dose? I guess I don't know anything about
Yeah, I mean, the doctor, like we do here, will put certain prescription in the pellet or choose different prescriptions, but I've heard more than not, they're always too high, especially on the testosterone.
I've heard the same thing.
Mm-hmm. These poor women are like losing their hair. They're getting acne. And then they come in here and they're scared. They're like, is that going to happen? I'm like, I've never once heard of that happening on the cream. Now, the injections maybe, but not the cream. So just, if you want that IUD in and you're in perimenopause, like we get it. We can work with you. Birth control pill is just nasty. It's just, and I'm not living in a glass house throwing stones. I was on the pill for years too. And I didn't even realize what I was doing. Like probably in my probably 19 to early mid 20s. And then I couldn't get pregnant when I went off of it. It totally shut down my hormones. And then they were like, you have PCOS, you're infertile, here's some Clomid, and I told you a story before. And I was getting ready to take the Clomid. I was picking up the prescription and the doctor called me and said, oh, you're pregnant. I found bioidentical progesterone cream. This was 25 years ago. I found it over the counter. This company was just selling it. It wasn't prescribed specifically for me or anything. And I started getting my period and I got pregnant because they didn't tell me, well, you're really low on progesterone. That's why you're not getting pregnant.
So that's interesting. You bring that cream up. So before, people that I've talked to have said that you can buy bioidentical estrogen cream on Amazon.
Are they talking about the yam cream maybe? No. I don't know then.
Yeah, people have asked me if I would recommend that, and I was like, no, I won't.
No,
I can't.
Actual, bioidentical cream.
It says buy estriol. Yes,
from a pharmacy.
No,
just
you can just buy it straight up, like you would be going to a grocery store, but it's Amazon.
Can you buy a kidney on Amazon these days?
I don't know. I bet we could find out.
Probably. See, mine was a crapshoot because we're talking about 1999, 2000.
Yeah.
So I just was like, I'll try anything at that point. But of course, now that I know better, I would never do over-the-counter cream if I didn't have my lab work done first. Right. And it wasn't compounded specifically for me. Yeah, that's because then you enter in you go down a whole other rabbit hole of now you're using estrogen without progesterone, which you shouldn't do. You're not balancing it with testosterone. And then what's the ratio of estrogen to progesterone? And what's your sex hormone binding globulin doing? It's like a whole, and you can actually make yourself feel worse. Yeah. That's weird that they're even, it's a wild, wild west out there right now.
There was just a nurse consult, which she should have been scheduled with you, ended up, which I think I did put her on her schedule anyway, but I was talking to her. She got just her hormones tested, got started on hormone cream, and then says to me, but all of my levels were completely fine, but they just threw them at me based on my symptoms. But all the symptoms she was telling me pointed to her thyroid. And I said, did they did you ever have your thyroid tested? And she's like, oh no, like they told me absolutely not. The hormones will fix my symptoms. I'll be good. I was like, oh my
gosh.
At least check your thyroid. So when people ask us what labs we do comprehensive thyroid, your T4, your T3, your antibodies, your TSH, your reverse T3. Then we're going to look at all of your hormone levels, your fasting insulin, your A1C, your vitamin D level, and some other basic labs, and your ferritin. I'm sure there's more involved. Your lipid panel, which then I found out that your estrogen and your LDL are tied together, which that was interesting. So we don't just look at a couple things and then say, here's something, let's throw it at a wall, hope it sticks. And that, I think it's the lack of education from some clinics. And I don't know sometimes whether it's a money-making thing or it's what.
I think with the mass-produced, like, online places, it's about money. And I think more of a local clinic level, it's just a lack of education. They are trying to do too many things instead of sticking to one wheelhouse. And so
I don't think this is one wheelhouse, though. This is like all the body systems sometimes. I think 4 of us sat together this morning talking about one person going back and forth on all the things. Here somebody comes in for hormones. Here they end up needing ozone therapy combined with maybe, I think it was one of the hormones maybe. But
your wheelhouse here is root cause medicine. You know, I'm not coming in for a haircut and leaving with estrogen cream. Okay. It's like, I'm not, stick to your wheelhouse. Stop. Well, would you have to go?
We can make that.
I was just going to say, we can make that happen if you'd like.
I do have horse feet in my garage. I deal lots of things out of there. Vasectomies, horse feet.
Oh, Lord. Now we're going to be doing haircuts.
Yeah. Yeah. The aesthetics, doing aesthetics.
Yeah.
That is hard.
It's just too much. There's too much to learn and know. And look at the continuing education you're always providing everybody here. And
just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And we're going out to the conference in Vegas, which I'm super excited about to see what do we even learn. And we might come back and revamp our whole program. So if you're listening to this, you better listen again in like 3 to 4 weeks because there might be some additional things added on to it. Corinne, anything to add? Are you on an IUD? Did you get your IUD back? No, he got snapped.
I was not getting that back. Nope.
Yours fell out though.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
TMI.
Well, because they said you have to get it replaced after 5 years, and then they're like, oh no, it's good for 10 years now. And Trav and I were in Nashville, and
yep, lo and behold,
it came out. And now we have a 1-year-old.
Well, she was the best accident ever.
No, we tried for her. I just couldn't convince Trav until it finally came out. But no,
so they're only good for 5 years.
No, now they're good for like 10.
But says who?
The dose cuts in. Is it after 5 years? It's the dose goes
The efficacy, right?
Yeah, by like 50% maybe.
I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. They told me that I need to get it replaced, and then like after I had Naya, I swear, at least every provider that came in was like, oh, well, what's your plan for birth control? I'm like, I don't have a plan. My husband's going to get a vasectomy. And they're like, oh, well, you should really do birth control in the interim. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. We're married, grown adults. If I don't want to be on birth control, I don't think I need to be. But it was just like the pushback of, you should do something because the vasectomy is not instant. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Plus, I've been on 3 orals, and like every single one that I tried was I'd vomit and be sick, headaches, migraines. So that's why I went to the IUD.
Yeah, the newer birth control pills are wicked. And I had someone close to me that wanted to go on one, and I advised her to go on one from like the 70s. I'm like, they seem to have the least side effects. But you bring up birth control pill. If I hear one more woman come into my office and say, well, I know I'm in menopause, but my doctor said, you know, just stay on the birth control pill the whole way through menopause and you'll be good. That's how you can control menopause. I'm like, you're not controlling menopause. You are shutting down the natural production of everything that once to happen naturally the way it's supposed to. And it's not going to get you through menopause because it's shutting everything down. And then the more your natural hormones drop, even below that, you're going to start to get symptoms and come into us and go, I don't know why the birth control pill isn't controlling my symptoms. But it's easier. It's easier for OBGYNs because they don't know what to do. It's easier for PCPs just to say, yep, you'll be fine on the birth control pill, because then you won't be in my office bothering me with questions. That's what it comes down to. Because look how much we have to work with women that the first couple of months on the program. It's like you have to really care about your patients and work with them to get their natural production optimal. And they just want to say, shut it down. And that's how it is. Shut it down, cut it out, because we don't want to figure it out. You have a problem with an organ? Cut it out.
And men wonder why we're crazy.
Yeah.
But
well,
one simple fix, and like if they took care of it on their end, that would be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we've talked to quite a few couples about the women coming off the birth control, the men going to get a vasectomy, and the men giving pushback, but then saying, how do I deal with my wife in menopause and all of these symptoms? Be nicer, be kind. And I think we're going to do a whole podcast on that.
we got to get some dudes in here, though, that are willing to talk.
We have.
I know we have some, but they're not
Yeah.
very PG.
No, but you have the patient that was talking about his wife crying over the fish or something like that he cooked and
She told me that today. She told me the whole story. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, and I would never get upset about if he didn't like the food I cooked. She goes, I bawled for like in the morning. She was saying like an hour now.
So what are we going to do about this?
Snip, snip.
I mean, it would be a lot easier sometimes, but there will be more. We will talk more menopause. We will talk more ozone. We will talk more about how men need to be more patient with all these ladies going through menopause. And we will see you next time on Shut the Front Door.